Hello, this is Annette with Project Refine Life. Welcome to my channel. This is really late in the game to be bringing you guys the September wrap up. I have been just like drained. My back has been hurting, and there's been a lot of things that happened. Like in September, it was crazy, just a crazy month. So let's go ahead and get to this, and I think I might share some of the things about September that made it crazy. Maybe I'll share them while I'm sharing the decks with you guys. But let's just go ahead and dive in. So this is my little journal, and look at how chunky it is, guys. Look, it's a little chunky one. Isn't that cute? Okay, so let's go ahead and skip over here to September. Like I said, it was a crazy month, and in the last couple of months, as you can see, like I've really been digging in to my journal. I've really been adding a lot more things to it and really working through the journal. And this is one of the first tools that I really used when it comes to healing. And there was times that I would just write in the journal, no pictures whatsoever. I'm just writing. But lately, I have felt really called to add in pictures and look for images on the internet and purchase a few things on Etsy. It's just, I can't say that it'll always be this way, but it's this way for now. And I've really liked it. This is really good. So let's go ahead and take a look. So now, one of the things I want to go ahead and talk about with you guys is that this is not sharing with you guys the haul. So there is a separate video, which is the deck and book haul for September 2023, where I share with you all the things that are new to my collection within that month. But this one is describing the practice, what I used during that month and how I used it and what I read and what stood out to me. So this is it. Let's go ahead and dig right in. So as far as books are concerned, I started reading I Am Diosa by Christine Gutierrez, and this book is a book that is to be worked through. Now, I got a little, another journal. I got another journal to start documenting some of the work. But as I was getting into the book and started working with some of the prompts, and it's not over for me, there's still a lot in here that needs to be worked through, but a lot of this is for maybe the earlier stages in your life, and I'm kind of past a lot of those. So for me, there are some things that maybe I can reflect on when I was younger and looking back on it now. But I'm going to just keep working through this book. So I'm not done with it, not by any means, but I am working through it continuously. And I think that's just going to be an ongoing process with me as far as reading the book and working through the book. But it's good. I really do like the journey that she takes you on. And I even purchased the Audible version of this. So I'm reading it and then I'm listening to it in the car as I go back and forth sometimes. But I have to be ready. I have to be ready to listen to this because it is something that you can get lost in, and I'm driving, so I don't want to get too lost while I'm driving. All right, this is the next one, Veneration Rites of Curanderismo, Invoking the Sacred Energy of Our Ancestors by Erica Buenaflor. Okay, first, I'm just going to say it right now. Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of her work. As you can see, I have the Soul Retrieval, I have the Animal Medicine by her, the Sacred Energies of the Sun and the Moon, and the Cleansing Rites of Curanderismo. I have all of her books, and then she also created the Mesoamerican Oracle cards, which I use very often. They're very close to me. This is working with the Mayan and the calendar, the day signs of the calendar system. So I'm a fangirl, and I want to just say, I love this book. I love this book. So now I have plenty of other ancestral medicine and offering type things, and I love working with ancestral medicine and doing that ancestral work. I love it. It is one of my passions. You know, as a Latina, we come into this ancestral work looking for a lot of answers because it was lost. You know, a lot of our medicine, a lot of our teachings was lost. It had to be hidden. It had to be either not transcribed. That couldn't happen. And you had to be careful with what you were doing and saying and everything else. You had to switch the way your religious views were, because if not, you would be killed. So when I found this book, for me, it was extremely different than working with some of my other ancestral books. And I was going to grab some and put them on the table and show you, but I'm not going to do that because that's irrelevant. This one is very specific to my heritage. And as you can see, you see all these little flags? It's highlighted all kinds of places. I took all kinds of notes. I love this book. I love this book. And I knew that I would. This book is just completely filled with practices that are in direct relation to my ancestors, my lineage, the way that I practice, and the things that are important to my ancestors, the way of working with my ancestors. So here's the contents. I'm just going to go over them quickly. The Great Weaving, the Mesoamerican and Curanderismo ancestral veneration, locating the ancestors you wish to venerate. Very important topic. I just recently got in the Ancestral Magic Oracle deck, and there's a full review on my channel here. You know, just because they're not in direct relationship to you doesn't mean you can't work with them. And just because they're your ancestors doesn't mean you should work with them. So locating the ancestors you wish to venerate is an extremely important part of it, because there are many ancestors that you don't want to work with. Just because they're related to you doesn't mean you want to have anything to do with them. So keep that in mind, you know, and when you step into those veneration rites and doing this ancestral work, especially during the month of October and into November, you really want to be selective with who you're working with. So something to keep in mind, and I'm off track here. Invocations that welcome the ancestors into our lives, colorful ceremonies, honoring the ancestors, rebirth, renewal, continuation of our ancestors. Then it goes into the sacred energies and healing purposes, healing grief and death of a loved one, and facilitating their graceful transition. So very important. I really, I just adored this book. So many nuggets, so many things. I love it. She gets into journeying practices and cleaning your space before your journey. Some of these little tags are just for you guys. And to be honest, since I tagged it, I can't even remember which are which anymore. So let's see here. Here that she has a lot of breathwork journeys to connect the Sacred Heart to an ancestor. She has many ways of taking journeys to connect to your ancestors. So I really, really enjoyed this. She has the rites to strengthening your ancestral connections after your early connection to them. So first you connect and then strengthening those relationships to them, the gifts and what you offer them, sharing food and drink, which I love because that's always part of my offering is food and drink. Just the other day, I was talking to one of my best friends, and I was sharing with her that on my ancestral altar for my ofrenda, like I always try to have pizza for my son. I try to offer beer for my dad, wine for my mom and my brother-in-law and my father-in-law. You know, I try to make it specific. I try to put the favorite candies that my dad liked, or I even have a playlist that I created in Spotify that's very specific for those family members. I don't have like grandparents and everything on there because Guys, we have a very large family between me and my husband, and it would never, like, I would have to take over the entire living room in order to have everybody's pictures of theirs up there. So it's very, just the close, like almost immediate family is what we've done, because there's just so many. But sharing food and drink, that's always great. Writing a love letter. I love the ideas that she has in here. They're not something that you see in some of the other books, which I really, really like, because it's, you know, it's specific. It's specific to my heritage. Ofrendas that provide and offer comfort and prestige. There is so many things. The location of the altar, she gets into the location, and I know other books get into that as well. Let's see here. What are they? Integrating ancient Mesoamerican wisdom. So integrating the ceremonies in, so calavera making, one of them here, where is it? Pinecone bundles, here we go, here's a little red tab. I had never seen or never heard of the pinecone bundles. So she gets into how to make the pinecone bundle, where you are tying together 4 pine cones and putting things into the pine cones. I had never heard of that before or seen it before. So this is fun to me. I'm going to be taking a trip soon to a location that has pine cones, because we don't have them here in the Metro Phoenix area. So soon I'll be somewhere where there are pine cones, and I'm hoping to gather up a few and maybe make one of these bundles here. She gets into the special days, because with the Mesoamerican calendar, there are special days to do certain things, working with the ancestors this day or doing cleansing rites, all of that. So she kind of gets into that. She talks about Dia de los Muertos as well. And because, you know, that's all about veneration rites, is Dia de los Muertos is all about that. But she also gets into like trance, singing and dancing. I could talk to you guys for a long time about this, because I'm really, really excited about this. She also gets into Cacao Atole. So I do facilitate cacao ceremonies, but not Cacao Atole. Now, Atole is like this really thick drink that's made out of cornmeal, and it is delicious. It is so good. But when I saw this, I thought, ooh, that is a really nice way to combine the cacao, the heart healing of the cacao, with the atole, and really pulling in that ancestral rite, the things that our ancestors drank. So I'm so excited about this. I can't wait to do this. And then let's see here. Also, when making your ancestral bundles, like your mesas, I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's when you use a cloth and then you place your items in here. So what items need to be placed in what position before you bundle your mesa. There are clearing curses that are addressed in this book, balancing wrongdoings, how to make a limpia soap, which is fun because, you know, I've purchased limpia soaps, but I've never made them. So there's a whole note section in the back. And then in addition to that, what I love is not just the notes, but check this out, guys, the bibliography. There are pages of where she obtained this information. This is what I love about Erica. Erica does not just simply regurgitate the information. She looks it up. She is well read. She has really traveled and worked with some very knowledgeable people in regard to the things that she's talking about. So I love her work. If you are at all interested in the veneration rites in this method, in this way, looking into spiritual rites and connecting with your ancestors, this is the book. Decks. Okay, I have a lot of decks on the table, and I'm going to try to go through these as quickly as I can because there's a lot here. And usually I just share, well, I think these kind of are like the most used. I'm going to try to get through these quick. This is the Way Home Tarot, and this is the Energy Archeology. I love the Energy Archeology, and then the Way Home Tarot is one of those decks that's really easy to work with. It is pippish, but it's really easy to work with. And then the Energy Archeology, that digs right into what's going on within the body. What's going on with the connective tissues and everything else within the bones. This deck, oh, I love it. I love it so much. And then the Way Home Tarot is such a great deck. It's a great reader. Really easy, to me, it's really easy to read. There's the What the F is Tarot book. I don't have that book. I have looked at it. It might be something that I might pick up at one time. I'm not quite sure. Look at the colors there. Look at that. But these two worked beautifully together. This is not a new pairing for me, but one that I do turn to if there's certain decks, you know, like that I pull out when I want like a quick reading, and the Way Home Tarot is one of them. And then with the Energy Archeology, that's where I'm digging in maybe a little bit deeper. Okay, so let's get to the next one, the Somnia Tarot. You guys know I love the Somnia Tarot. And this is the illustrated version. I think I got this in the month before. I adore the Somnia Tarot in each format that it's in, both the one with the more haunting images, as some people might say, and then this is the illustrated version. And I love this deck. I love the Somnia Tarot. I just, every time I look at this, even the illustrated version, I know that this man went out and took a picture of each one of these, created the scene for each one of these. That is amazing work, guys. Amazing. But this one does have a very different feel, as I've discussed in the past. And this is the Earthbound Oracle. This little guy, you know what? If you don't have the Earthbound Oracle, I know this one goes in and out of print sometimes, but it always comes back. This is such a good little deck, guys. You can push it in to so many readings with so many aspects. You can tie things up with it. You can make that your main focus. It is such a great little deck, and it matches so many decks. If you're into deck pairings like I am, see, like this isn't exactly the correct aesthetic, right, for these two, but yet it works so well because of this deck. This deck here is just so versatile. I really, really love it. Here we have the Oracle of Echoes, and this deck I used a couple of times. So here's the Oracle of Echoes. Wrong way. And again, beautiful, beautiful images. I love it. I know it didn't, again, aesthetically, it didn't match, but it works. It works because this has such a deep, shadowy aspect. It also works with the first edition as well of the Somnia Tarot. Works in perfectly. For me, it does. But I think, again, it's one of those decks that has such depth to it within the art and just the one word. There's no guidebook. I can't remember. I think I do have a PDF. Guys, when I get a PDF, odds are I'm going to lose it because I am horrible at at keeping my files in order. And then if I do download a file on a PDF, most of the time, I'm not going to know where to find it again. That's the truth. But so like with this, I'm just looking at this and working with this. Look at that beautiful illustration here. Gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So that is the Oracle of Echoes. This is the first edition. I know she has a second edition with some additional cards in it. Another deck that I worked with together side by side is, of course, the Narrative Alchemy Tarot, one of my all-time favorite decks. I love this deck. It works as an oracle, it works as a tarot, works as a chakra deck. Guys, it's versatile, it's beautiful, it matches so many decks. I'm not trying to sell you on something, but seriously, it's a great deck because look at this. You can just take this one word and then use that as your focus or use that as your wrap up as to how you're reading with your deck and what it's all about, what this reading is all about. Again, it's always a deck that I keep close by, and I also worked with it alongside the Gentle Tarot. Oh, look it. Oh my goodness, yes. Okay, these two I really like together. I really, really like these together. The Gentle Tarot, if you guys have been here a while, you know, this is my heart and soul. I love, love, love the Gentle Tarot. I know that Muddy is working on another deck. I've said this before. I'm behind any project that she does because I love her spirit. I love how she comes across to me. I just think she is a beautiful, beautiful soul. You can see it within the eyes. At least I can. I think she is just beautiful, and it shows in this deck. And then the Narrative Alchemy Tarot, it feels like Chrissy. Like this is Chrissy. If you have seen any of her videos, truly, it is thoughtful, it is provoking, it is deep. Her writings within her guidebook are wonderful. I love it. I hear her voice every time I work with this deck. If I'm reading the guidebook, sometimes I'm just reading, you know, the title within the card. But if I'm reading the book, I'm listening to Chrissy. Superlunaris. I know this doesn't match. I know this doesn't. But these two decks, I really love the Superlunaris. And the Superlunaris is one of these decks that I use for, again, when I don't have, I don't want to say the strength. I always have the strength. It's just the depth. Sometimes you just don't have the depth. You know, there are some days that you just need a bit of a break. And so you need something that's clear. And this is one of those decks that I go to. There are a few decks that I have within my collection where it's like, I don't want to think a lot. I want it to come to me quickly, easily. I don't want to be challenged. So I had to go to California in the month of September, right at the beginning of the month of September. And this is where I'm kind of unravel what has been going on. In the month of August, right at the end of August, I don't know if you guys remember, but in California, they had that rare, like, Hurricane Hillary is coming and it's going to touch down in California, and be careful and stock up and be ready. Well, it turned into a tropical storm, but it was intense. You know, I have, or my husband has a friend who is still out of his home because of that particular tropical storm. He lived right at the base of the mountains, and their area got wiped out. So he's still not home. But on this day, my son, he's 39. He's a man. He's 39, but he went to visit his son, and on that day, and I had already talked to both my grandson and my son in the morning, and I was comfortable knowing that everybody was where they should be, stay home, be safe, all the things, right? And then I talked to my son later in the afternoon, and he was on his way to go see my grandson, and immediately I knew, I felt it, and and this is so weird for me, but I begged him to go home. I was pleading with him, please go home, because this just doesn't feel right. There's something not right. You have to go back home. And he said, Mom, I'm like 10 minutes away at this point. I'm already almost there, and I'll be careful. I'll be safe on the way home. Well, he got into a rollover crash on the way home. He his car rolled over, went into a ditch on the side of the freeway. It was like pushing into the water. There was water entering the car. He was able to make his way out of the car. And thank goodness one person on the freeway saw him, so called 911. And but my son was able to get out of the car, and he thought, okay, I'm safe, I'm okay. He was not okay. He didn't know, but he had broken his leg. And so he kept going. He kept going for a few days after the crash. The car was totaled, and he kept going, and he did take a few days off of work. Well, he took a step. He took a step. And when he took the step, his leg snapped. And so he needed immediate surgery. And he's still in bed. He's bedridden, you know, or not in bed. He's getting up and kind of moving around with a wheelchair and stuff now. No cast because of the way that it broke. But anyhow, I went to California to help take care of him for almost a week, and these two are part of what I took with me alongside the Gentle Tarot, because I knew I was going to need support. So these decks went with me, and I think there was one more. Yes, there was, and I can't remember which one it was because I couldn't even decide, like, which deck do I take with me? What's it going to be? I'm going to try to remember which deck it was, because I think it is that deck that kept setting off the alarms in the TSA line. But sometimes you need these really supportive and loving decks, and I got into all of that just to kind of share what's been happening, you know. And there's been a lot of conversations. I'm trying to just keep my son focused, even if I'm 400 miles away, by telephone conversations. The Northern Animal Tarot. This is another one of my favorite decks. I just adore this deck. Everything about this deck is just so beautiful. This is the first edition. I know she has a third edition out now. I do have two of the first. I do have the second edition. The first edition is this is my favorite. I love it. I love the cardstock. It feels linen-y and soft and supple, and I love this deck. But this is one of those decks too that just feels like a friend, even if it's a little rough for me sometimes. I love this deck because it's always with this like love and compassion still. And you know, this is one of the decks that if I'm going to a wooded area, you can bet this deck would go with me, because how can I not take this deck to somewhere that has trees and forest and everything else? This is the deck that just belongs in those type of surroundings. The Oak, Ash, and Thorn, this is such a little beauty. I love her. You know, I'm kind of tempted, because I love the little tiny decks. I'm kind of tempted by the small, the mini, but I haven't used this deck quite as much as maybe I thought that I would when I purchased it, but I love it. I love this deck. There is the Dragons deck, and I think now there's the Oracle deck as well. But I don't know, I like this one. But I did work with this deck alongside the Tree Whisper, or the Tree, is it the Tree Whisper? Yes, it is. Tree Whisper Oracle. I don't know if this is in print or not. She does little runs of it. This is an older copy or older edition. It's the rectangle with the square edges. And you know what? I almost started like trimming the edges, but I don't know. I kind of like it. I kind of like that it's square like that. But these two gave me really deep, insightful, kind readings. This deck for me is filled with so much wisdom. It's that wisdom of the tree. It's the connection of the tree. So interesting enough, today my card of the day was Árbol de la Vida. So that is the tree of life. This is from the Dia de los Muertos Oracle. And for me, like when I see trees, it's that idea of here and now. They're present, but they're digging into the earth. So you have that wisdom of the ancestors. You have the guidance of what's going on. My goodness, I was stuck. Within the skies. So it's the above and below and the present. And I just think that these two work so pretty together. I'm kind of talky today, huh? Oh my goodness. See what happens when I put this off and all of a sudden I'm onto it and I'm just like, blah, blah, blah. Dirt gems. I love this deck. So pretty. This is one of my all-time favorites too. I love the way that the guidebook is written. Yeah, you're talking about the overall plant, but what you're really getting into is the emotional, the healing, the way to use this plant, the plant's energy rather than let's make a tea. You know, it's not that type of a deck. It's let's think about the essence of this plant and let's think about how it could affect you, how you could work with that energy of the plant. So in this respect, like they always say, like if you don't have a lot of crystals, get a crystal quartz, a clear quartz, because with a clear quartz, you can use that and tell that quartz that you want to work with it in the respect of healing of, like, say, a citrine or amethyst or rose quartz, or say you want to work with it in some other manner, like say you want to work with it for protection, then, you know, you can program it to work any way that you want. So with this, the idea for me is that you're really working with the energy of the plant, not that you're going to go fix yourself a tea or make yourself a ritual bath with the tea, but with the energy, the energetic healing properties for emotional wellness. God, I think I finally said it. All right. And then this right here is the stunning tarot. This is the 4th edition. I really, really love it. I think it's the shape. I think it's the shape that really draws me in, but I just love this combination. And I think, yes. That was the deck that I worked with for Aries, for the Harvest Moon, the Mabon Oracle. This, and I've talked about it, because this was in my haul, and so I talked about it a little bit. You guys, this deck is my favorite. Of all of the Seasons of the Witch decks, this is my absolute favorite. I really enjoyed working with this deck. Something was definitely different, or is definitely different, between this and the other decks. I don't know if it's, I think it's just a combination of all of it. The way that it's written, the way that it's presented. Oh my goodness, my tongue is tied. Now, anytime I see a Cacao, and I think there's a few where she presents Cacao. Hello, I'm in. Crow, I love that. I mean, it's just beautiful. I love this deck. I really like working with this deck. And I do have the Samhain Oracle out to work with for the month, but I haven't even worked with it yet because this one is still on my mind. I still want to work with this deck. So I'm kind of like fighting myself in a sense, like, you know, you still want to work with the Mabon Oracle. But there we go. So Sasuraibito and the Mabon Oracle, oh my goodness, I really love these two together. And I love the art styles overall together, the darkness of both of them, this core black background, and the art in general, and the readings really, really good together. I really like these two. It was just very cohesive. Everything just seemed flowy, like water. This is the Solara Occulto Tarot. This guy, oh my goodness, I love this deck. She is going to be releasing probably very soon, probably in the month of December, the updated version of this deck. And I went back and forth with getting the updated version. I don't know, maybe when I see it, if she has some available, maybe I'll do it. I'm not sure. I love this one. This is the second edition. And again, I love the overall colors that present themselves within the deck. So I might go ahead and work with this and the Samhain Oracle, because I just love the tones within all of these decks, and pretty much the tones, even though the art is different in the Samhain Oracle. I'll probably work with those two together. I'm not sure exactly, but these did really, really well together. The Solara Occulto is just such a beautiful deck. I love the way that it reads. But again, these are all with the Mabon Oracle. I really like that one. Okay, this one has become one of my favorite decks. I love this deck, and I don't see too many people talking about it, which is a shame, because it's a really, really good deck. This is the Be With Your Body Tarot. I love it. It stays like, seriously, I go like this. It's right there because it's so good. Now for me, I like to use this when I just want to get in touch with my body. If I'm not feeling connected, this is one of the decks that I turn to just find that connection. And then also, before I go and teach yoga, I will pull these cards as well, the Be With Your Body Tarot, because it helps me connect to my class. Like, what do I need to keep in mind when we are in practice today? Is there anything I need to look out for? Are there any messages that I need to be in tune with? If something hits me during our class, like, how do I work with that medicine or that particular energy? How do I use yoga? Because that's what I do. I use yoga, that movement, to work through the stagnant and stuck energy that's trapped within the body. So this is one of those decks. I just really, really love this deck. It's so beautifully made. And I know it seems like the images are really simple, but guys, this is a beautiful deck. I love the guidebook. I love the approach, the overall approach that the creator has taken with this deck and the way that she presents herself. That is another big, big deal for me. It's like the Little Sister Tarot. This one I got in last month. This deck. Oh my goodness, this deck. There have been a few decks that have come into my collection within this past month that haven't let me, or maybe it's just, no. There's a few decks that really have stood out within this last month or two that are like, you're not going to get past this. You're going to keep getting the same cards until you sit down and you think about this and think about how you can shift or change things or work through some things. And I've been so tempted to pick it up within the month of October, but it was very hard for me to put it down. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to work with some other decks through October, and then I'm going to come back to this in November, because it does really, I don't know, it just has that overall vibe to me, and this feeling of gratitude and love, and it just feels like it's the right deck to work with. I did do a full walkthrough of this deck, and I did several pairings for this deck, but there was some decks that I used it together with in the month of September that I hadn't shared within the pairings. So let's discuss that. The Mantra Oracle. This is another deck that came out this year that I absolutely love. I love working with this deck. Look at the images together. You guys, this is, oh my goodness, did I flip it again? Goodness gracious. Okay, this is beautiful together. This is beautiful. This is such a peaceful, loving voice that comes through these two decks together. It is a beautiful read, beautiful. And then you can work with it with mantras. You can just work with it on the little key phrase here, or kind of dig into the guidebook a little bit if you want, but I really love this deck, and combined with the Little Sister Tarot, it was beautiful. It was just a gorgeous, gorgeous read. All right, so now one of the other decks that I paired up with it, I have to come down here to my pile of decks, was the Oracle of Echoes. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna bend my card. Hello. I liked the art styles together. I think that they worked really well together. I loved the one word and the focusing of attention here, and then just trying to get those supporting messages within the tarot deck. These were really good together, but I have to say that the Mantra Oracle really, really was something that I really loved with it. Okay, this is another one. The Southern Gothic Oracle. This was new to my collection, and this deck, I really love it. I really, really love it. This is so cool. This is another fangirl type thing. I'm fanning over anything La Penthière Studio is creating. I really am. I'm loving their decks. So, so good. But these two, oh my goodness, you guys, look at these together. Look at this. The images that came up together with one of these readings that I had. Oh, the images are amazing together. And the reading, but the overall tones, look at these tones together. This was a gorgeous read, a little different. It wasn't as like the way that the Mantra Oracle felt. This pairing didn't feel that way. This felt a little bit more ancestral in a sense, where you're working with the energy rather than the overall healing aspect in a sense. I hope that's the way to explain it. I am so bad at explaining that, but I still want to share with you guys what I'm working with. These two, I love it. I love these two together. Now, I did send a note over to the creator of the Little Sister Tarot, and she was very, very kind with her response. She seems like such a sweet person. I had sent her a message because in looking at these images and in reading, I can't remember what I read, but I thought, is she Latino or Latina in any way, shape, or form? Because I get such a strong feel within the deck of the Latino culture. And so she responded and said that she is not, in fact, Hispanic or Latino, but she has spent ample time in Mexico, and she has that influence within the deck. And I just, I had to reach out and said, I had to know, like, are you Latino? I want to know, because I had featured all the decks that are created by Latino creators or are inspired by or themed into on my channel this month, as an addition to my Hispanic Heritage Month deck videos. And then also I did one on the books as well. So that was something else. If you're interested in those type of things, the Latino culture and the decks that support that type of work, there are videos, books and decks videos that I have on this channel. But she said that she didn't, she didn't have any Latino roots, but I could feel the influence. I could feel it. I could see it. I don't know. But I think no matter who you are, where you are, maybe it's just what I feel because that's who I am, right? But these two working together, it just felt very magical. It felt very, like I said, spiritually guided, in a sense, like tapping into something different, where the Mantra Oracle was very healing. So Those were the other 3 decks that I worked with alongside the Little Sister Tarot that were not featured on the video that I created showing the pairings for the Little Sister Tarot. I love these. I love all my decks. You know what? No, that's not true. I don't love all my decks. I love most of my decks. There are some decks that I just have put away on a shelf, and I'm going to have to decide what to do with those. I know one of them has a home already, and there's a few others that I just need to be done with. But anywho, that was my month. So yeah, it was a crazy couple of months. And it's beginning to calm down a little bit. My back was hurting really, really bad. And I think that's, that's just how the body handles what you're trying to get through. It kind of settles into the body. And I'm aware of that. But as a yoga teacher, that's kind of hard. That's kind of hard dealing with as a yoga teacher, being in front of your class. And some of my students need me to demo these poses. So, just working through it, just trying to get through it, and everything opens up and is getting easier. And the main thing is that I kind of have to let myself off the hook for being late with videos that I should have put out 2 weeks ago, but there's no timeline. There's no timeline. I hope that you still find this information valid, and I hope you still find this information helpful, looking at all of my pretty things. Another thing is my little journal here. Like I said, I really worked with this journal this month. And the last few months as well. This has been such a release for me. So much so that sometimes I'm not even pulling cards. I'm just working in my journal. That's how deep it's been for me lately. A lot of these things that you see here, this is from the Patreon of the Forager's Daughter Tarot. Seriously, guys, this is such a great deal. I think it's like $4 a month. She does a tarot spread for each moon, so new moon and full moon. Anything that's a little bit different, she usually does. Like if it's one of the Wheel of the Year type of Sabbath or something, she does that. It's a great deal. I really, really enjoy it. Also, September 21st was my son Michael, who is passed on. It was his 36th birthday. So it's always hard. It's always hard. I love him so much. And then we had fall equinox. And so it's been a crazy, amazing, energy-filled, energy-depleting kind of a month. And I'm grateful for all of it. The highs, the lows, every little bit of it. The stuff that makes my back hurt, the stuff that makes me laugh, the stuff that makes me cry. I'm thankful for you guys. I'm thankful for being able to share all this information with you guys. And the fact that you guys even want to hear me and listen to this is just unbelievable for me. And I am so, so grateful. Thank you so much. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. I wish you a beautiful day, and I will see you later.